What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Evan and I make videos about hot stocks, dividends, and options. So if that interests you guys, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss when I upload. Now you guys are seeing this video on Saturday, and obviously you can tell here by the chart that this was recorded yesterday, but the concept of the video still remains the same. We're basically going to go over why NIO has been down so much lately and why they seem to continue dropping despite there being no negative news coming out for NIO specifically. But before we actually jump into it, if you guys wouldn't mind going down and hitting the like button, I would really appreciate it, and it really helps out the channel and it lets me know that you guys enjoy these video updates every day. But with that out of the way, you can see that NIO yesterday was down around 5%, and I'm speaking yesterday as in Friday. So at the time of recording this, that would be today. NIO dropped around 5% today, and they're actually kind of leveling off in after hours. But this still doesn't explain why they've been down so much the past week especially. Because if we actually look at the 1 week, you can see they're down almost 21%. And they've had nothing but red days, it seems like. Only one green day that I know of. And that was right around here, right when they dropped, because a lot of news came out about NIO possibly being delisted. So they dropped on December 1st and the whole day was red. And then December 2nd, they started climbing back up because people realized that they probably wouldn't be delisted. But even since then, they've still had 2 red days in a row and they've continued dropping. And there's really no explanation as to why they've dropped so much. I mean, this entire week from November 30th all the way to December 4th has been all red. And if we look at the 1 month chart, you can see obviously in the beginning of the month, they were climbing up and they were looking pretty good for most of the month. Then they kind of leveled off and now they've been dropping for the past couple weeks or so. They've been dropping since November 23rd here, and it's just been a downwards trend the entire time. And there's really not a whole lot to explain why they've been dropping. Now there could be a few reasons that we're going to go over and a few possibilities, but there's really nothing set in stone as to why NIO has been pulling back so much. But just to kind of compare NIO to the overall market, the market went up 1% today at 0.86%. And once it got to around 0.6% here, it kind of leveled off and didn't really increase too much. So again, NIO is doing the opposite of what the overall market is doing, which isn't anything new to see. They do have a mind of their own, and sometimes they do the opposite of what the market is doing. Oftentimes when we see the market go up, we see NIO pull back, and the opposite is true as well. So it's nothing surprising to see, but the more surprising thing is to see NIO pulling back so consistently for the past couple of weeks, with really no explanations as to why. But now getting into some of the reasons that could be why NIO is pulling back and why they've continually pulled back for the past couple of weeks. Now again, none of this is set in stone. This is just kind of assumptions because we don't always know exactly why a stock pulls back or goes up. Sometimes stocks just move with no explanation, and sometimes it's just due in part to investors. When investors are selling off or maybe just securing profits, a stock could drop like this, and that could be the reason as well. But even right here, it says that it wasn't immediately clear as to why NIO shares were trading lower. And this is also kind of referring to the last couple of weeks because they've been red for 2 weeks in a row now. And it says that there was no negative news coming out for NIO specifically. And on the contrary, earlier this week, NIO actually reported record deliveries in November. They had reported 5,291 deliveries. And it was surprising to see that they didn't actually increase in price because of that report. Typically, when we've seen record numbers come out for NIO for monthly deliveries, we've seen their price spike up and go in the green. But when these numbers came out for November deliveries, we didn't see NIO spike up at all. I think they actually were red that day. And it says here that NIO is also accelerating plans to boost production due to high demand. So that's another thing that should have maybe pushed up NIO's share price, but we really didn't see that reflected on their price. But there have been a few things from Li Auto and XPeng that have pushed down the share price of NIO. Now, it's surprising to see how affected NIO is by these other companies, but I guess when you think about it, investors that are investing in NIO likely have shares of Li Auto and XPeng as well, because they're kind of a bundled deal, and they've all been moving pretty similarly. They all have a similar growth when you look at their charts. But one of the big things specifically from Li Auto was that they had a secondary offering at $29 on Friday morning, and that was significantly below Thursday's closing price of $32.31. And it says a hint that Wall Street's appetite for Chinese electric vehicle startups might be fading. And so if news like this comes out for even one of these stocks, it's going to influence the bundle of them, and all three will see their price drop because of some news like this. But now talking specifically about Thursday, there was a Wall Street analyst that cut his rating on XPeng, and he cut his rating from a buy to a neutral. Although he did increase his price target up to $59 on XPeng, the overall decrease from a buy to a neutral really hurt XPeng and NIO yesterday, and I think Li Auto was also affected as well. But in essence, he basically said that these EV stocks are kind of overpriced right now, and he's always been pretty bearish on NIO specifically, so it's not surprising to see him cut his rating on XPeng as well. But as I explained earlier, it says here that stocks can move up and down for no apparent reason, and this could be part of the case for NIO, XPeng, and Li Auto lately. A lot of these investors could just be taking profits or reallocating their capital, and maybe they're just trying to secure more profit before the end of the year comes, and maybe for tax reasons as well. You really don't know, because looking at the news, there really hasn't been any bad news other than this XPeng rating. And maybe it has to do with the rumor of Wall Street kind of fading on EV stocks as well. But these aren't things that make these stocks go down for 2 weeks in a row. But even with these pullbacks, like I've said before, I think these are the days when you want to add to your portfolio when the stocks are red. You don't want to be adding when a stock is at its all-time highs. Especially for those of you who believe in NIO long-term and you believe in their business model. These are the days when you would want to add to your portfolio and lower your average share price if you have a relatively high average share price. Now there's also people worried about NIO being delisted, but as I went over in my last NIO video, I basically told you guys that NIO probably won't be delisted and most likely they're going to be around for the long term. Now Li Auto and XPeng on the other hand, there's potential that they could be delisted because they never spoke out about whether they are in compliance with the new law. Where NIO actually said in an email that they are compliant, and they have been compliant for a few months now, so they're really not going to go anywhere. And also looking back at the share price over the past few weeks, you have to look at NIO more long term. I mean, there's a lot to look forward to for NIO.
A lot of great things like soda pop, big fresh can of soda pop.
Things like NIO Day, their deliveries that they want to achieve by the end of 2021, which could be anywhere between 100 and 150,000 deliveries. And then their new vehicles that they're releasing in 2021. There's all kinds of things that should help push up the share price of NIO. So again, even though I'm not a financial advisor, I don't think there's really anything to worry about in terms of NIO. Now, XPeng and Li Auto, since they haven't spoken out about the delisting, people could still be worrying about them being delisted, and that could be affecting NIO. Now, NIO I don't think will ever be delisted as long as they're still compliant and as long as the Chinese government doesn't control them. So if that is the case, they're likely going to continue going back up after all this kind of fades away, all this worry about Chinese stocks being delisted. Now, for those of you who made it this far into the video, I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are specifically on NIO being delisted. Do you guys think there's any possibility that they'll be delisted because maybe they're too controlled by the Chinese government? Or do you think they're totally in compliance with this new law and they're going to be around for the long haul? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Lastly, if you guys haven't signed up for Webull, make sure you guys sign up using the link in the description and you'll get 4 free stocks when you sign up and deposit $100. Also, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you'll leave a like because it really does help out the channel. And with that said, thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you back here in the next one. Bye.